keeps changing. She said, well, you sure act like your mind is made up, and your life as you live it is a big ball of string. A sure way to waste it is to wrap it round everything. My lines as I see them are straight, but they're true. There's a whole lot of me left to wind around you. A fork-tapping dreamer in a plastic mat restaurant who wants a meal for a king at a price he can't pay. But the menu's a minefield, she says. Can't you settle on what you want? I'm skin and bone starving, our loving away. And your life as you live it is a big ball of string. A sure way to waste it is to wrap it round everything. My lines as I see them are straight, but they're true. There's a whole lot of me left to wind around you. Keep watching the clock, we're not there yet. It's a long, lonely road. You're spinning too fast to stop, and you tie me in knots with your rhymes and your reasons. What will you be, darling? A shark or a sailor? Or everywhere at once like till the morning, then you'll be trapped and all tangled round me. And your life as you live it is a big ball of string. A sure way to waste it is to wrap it round everything. My lines as I see them are straight, but they're true. There's a whole lot of me left to wind around, to wind around, to wind around, wind around you. Thank you. Thank you. So that's my first song. And as I mentioned before, this very short set is going to be a bunch of originals that I have written over many years. I have been working on an album this year. This has been a big bucket list item for me. Many, many years ago, I did a lot of music, and then I stopped when I had kids. And in the past couple years, I've been able to pick it up again and start writing. And I've been recording an album with Doug Hortler, who I believe is somewhere out in the uniwebs here, at Hollow Body Studios. And if you ever have a hankering to record music, you need to contact him immediately. And he plays a gazillion instruments and has a wonderful producer's ear, and you can bring an idea for a song or something you want to record, and he will make you sound better than you actually are. And he's a nice person. So that is my plug for Doug. Oh, that rhymed. I'm excited to share some of these songs with you. The album is almost done, and I hope it will be out a little bit later this year. So the next song that I'm going to be doing is one of the tracks on the album. And it's a song that I wrote for my grandmother, Dorothy, who was always a very influential and important woman in my life. She was an opera singer, and when she was young, she ran off to New York to sing in the USO during the war, and she actually ended up auditioning for some Broadway shows and was cast in the original Broadway production of Oklahoma, back when it was Green Grow the Lilacs. And she ended up leaving the show before it opened in order to marry my grandfather, and they went off and they had a very long and fruitful and productive life together. But when I knew her, she was my grandmother, and while she continued her life as a musician, I didn't really know a whole lot about the early years. And of course, it's not until you become an adult that you realize that you have a lot of questions for those people in your life. So this song, which some of you from Uke Night have already heard, is called Train from Gary, and it's about my grandmother Dorothy. And my sideman is joining me now. daughter late in life to a mother who was sure she didn't want to be a wife? And what'd you say to your Irish-eyed dad, who always seemed so silent and sad? And what was it like to know you could sing and know that was the most important thing, when courage was the chords on a piano? And how did it feel to board that train, your hands against the window pane, and say goodbye to Gary, Indiana? How did it feel to stand on that stage, the light in your eyes, your hands shaking on the page, and your voice may be trembling with all you could feel, and those men in the dark saying your dreams are real? What'd you think when that boy sauntered in and undid you with his lazy grin? You could almost hear your mother sigh with pity. And what'd you say when you turned in your keys to your tiny room and your melodies, and said goodbye to dreams of New York City? How did it feel to have a love so vast that you almost didn't mind what you left in the past? And what'd you say each time he wanted to move and left you in a new place with something to prove? Did you give your all at a talent show, or blow the back walls out in another church solo, exhausted by the effort of believing? And in each new room, what did you put on the shelf to remind you that you were still yourself, despite all of the places you were leaving? Oh, 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 oh. What was it like to know a girl with your hands who told you all her dreams of playing in a band? What was the advice that died on your lips as the songs poured out of her fingertips? And how'd you know that the best you could do was to tell her that she had to see it through, while inside your mind was teeming with the stories of a girl who felt like she was still 19 when her eyes were blue and her slate was clean, and sitting on a train from Gary dreaming of future glories? Man, I wish I thought to ask you for your stories. How I wish I'd asked you for your stories.
Love that song.
One of my faves. All right. Lest we go too long without ukuleles, this next one requires a uke. Thank you. This one I wrote after a long dry spell of not writing songs. I wrote up at World Fellowship, which is the wonderful camp that many of us go to in the summers for ukulele camp. And can I be cautiously optimistic that there's going to be ukulele camp this summer? I hope so. All right, here we go. One summer evening, I went out walking. The breeze was breezy, the moon was bright. Then out of nowhere, between the treesies, a fairy pinprick, a flash of light. Despite my wishing for that light to stay, those fireflies just faded away. I learned you can't stare at fireflies, you'll miss their spark. Sometimes a sideways glance works better in the dark. You know you gotta grab at happiness, but still I think you'll find that life's best moments sometimes sneak up from behind. December morning, a winter window, the snow reflecting a sky so blue, the silver crystals between my mullions, a frozen gamble, a millionaire's view. And though I'd like to keep this art till June, I know it will be gone by New I've learned you can't ask the sun to never melt the frost. Sometimes the beauty's in the moment lost. You know you gotta grab at happiness, but still I think you'll find that life's best moments sometimes sneak up from behind. The color of the autumn leaves will fade. You'll lose that spiky jolt from that cup of coffee you made. Linen will crinkle, your face will wrinkle. Remember, life is sweet, 'cause it's gone in a heartbeat. I am a mother, my kids are awesome. They think I'm cheesy, that's alright. Being a mother is not so easy. The awkward silence, the pop-up fight, but then there's moments of unbridled grace. Adulthood in your baby's face. I've learned you can't force your kids to say they love you so. Sometimes a speedy hug's enough to know. You know you gotta grab at happiness, but still I think you'll find that life's best moments sometimes sneak up from behind, just like my husband. Life's best moments sometimes sneak up from behind.
Good.
Cute.
So cute.
What's next? What's next? The Magic 8 Ball. What's on my list? Oh, I like this one. Okay, another song. When I taught third grade a million years ago, I had a student who I stayed in touch with over many years, and he heard this song, and he said, "Oh, it's another one of your nostalgia songs," which in fact it is. The song is called Fabric. I am a crafty person. My mom is a crafty person, and one day we were cleaning out a closet of fabric, and then this song happened. Half a yard, please, just enough for the pattern to repeat. Those flowers and leaves remind me of old hands and a smile and a laugh and my grandmother's dress. So she tells me, she says, I've got this closet all cluttered with lengths of my life, and what looking at all this fabric does to me, I can hardly express. Funny, don't you think, how one scrap of fabric can bring you back, bring you back. And she marvels how a few feet of thread can bring her to tears. The years flew by on puppets and pillows and patchwork and dresses for her girls. When that fabric was all that she had to cover her couches and conquer her loneliness, when the warp and the weft were all she had left to keep her warm in the world. Funny, don't you think, how one scrap of fabric can bring you back, bring you back. Velvet may be nice, but the pile won't last. Synthetic fibers won't color fast. You've got to watch to see how far you make your money go. You can't rely on serviceable calico. 2 weeks later, a friend caught my arm and said, your shirt's like a dress I had when I was 6, and when I wore it I felt like a warrior queen in a magical gown. And my daughter nice dress that she wears every day. Someday soon I'll have to put it away. But when she's older, I'll tell her how pretty she was, and we'll take it back down. Funny, don't you think, how one scrap of fabric can bring you back, bring you back, bring you back. Thank you.
Okay.
Ooh. Yeah, Danno. Sounds great. Sounds great. All right, what's next? Oh, yeah. I'm using a different guitar for this one. It's a little guy. He's not exactly ukulele, but he's cute. Ready?
Mm-mm.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this song, for those of you who know me well, I tend to like to be organized and to plan ahead. I was the girl who, in middle school, certain friends of mine might have kidnapped my assignment pad, and that was traumatic for me. So I am notorious for sort of liking things the way I like them. And one of the great journeys of our marriage has been my learning how to move the furniture in our house.
You can always put it back.
No, you can't. Oh, it was a long black night, and I was out of money. Had to get across state lines by the morning light. Now some might have seen it like a great big joke. I didn't find it very funny, but I grabbed my bag and I jumped that train without a shadow of a plan in sight. And it's not like me, I'm the one who likes to know where I've come from and where I'm gonna go. It's been a long, hard lesson to go with the flow and to give a little push to my ducks in a row. Just a little push to my ducks in a row. Oh, you showed up at my door in a funny kind of raincoat, talking about the storms that you dodged when you came to town. You didn't seem to mind about the holes at your elbows. You liked the ventilation, and you laughed as you shook your arms till the water dripped down. And it's not like me, I'm the one who likes to fly under the radar and stay warm and dry. It's been a long, hard lesson to go with the flow and to give a little push to my ducks in a row. Just a little push to my ducks in a row. Give me balance on these shifting sands and a star to point me north. Give me sea legs so we can crest the waves and catch the spray, and a lifeline for when they toss us overboard. Oh, you might be hard-pressed to call my life a big adventure. I wake up in the morning at the same time every dang day. But I wake to you and your point of view and our endless conversation. And it's a funny kind of drama when the action is a choice to stay. And it's who I am and it's who I'm trying to be. Staying true to you while I'm staying true to me. It's been a long, hard lesson to go with the flow and to give a little push to my ducks in a row. Just a little push to my ducks in a row. One more push to my ducks in a row. Just a little push to my ducks in a row. Ducks in a row. Ducks in a row. Ducks in a row. Ducks in a row.
Yay! That's great.
Thank you. All right. Oh, speaking of ducks, I got another animal song. Hold on. Capo. This song I wrote about a year ago. I read a New York Times article. This is based on a completely true story about a tanker that went down in the Black Sea with many, many, many thousands of sheep. And out of all of the sheep that went down in the, what's it called? The capsizing of the ship, only a few were saved. And I was just sort of captivated by this visual, this horrible visual of these poor sheep who are getting carted off to be slaughtered anyway, drowning. And I felt like they needed their own sea shanty. So this is a sheep shanty for them. And first I'm going to tune in order to spare you the pain of the sour notes. Oh, sorry you guys. Talk amongst yourselves. Ooh.
So, Erin, if I might say something while you're tuning.
Yeah.
Yes. So, this is Ken. So just to let people know that if you are interested, I will be hosting an after party after this on Kumo Space. Some other people have been at one of these events. I hosted one last week. And so towards the end, I will put in information on how to get in there. It's sort of like a virtual house party. You know, you can go into the living room, into the kitchen, into places, and you only hear the people that you're near. So it's the availability. It's much better than Zoom to be able to have small conversations and to meet other people. So because we can all talk about how lovely this whole concert has been. So anyway, and Danno and Erin, maybe they might be able to show up too. But
Definitely.
you're all welcome, and I will put the information in the chat.
All right.
At the end.
You ready? Okay, here we go. So here's my sheep shanty. A boat full of sheep left the coast. A boat full of sheep left the coast of Romania, headed due south. Her course well defined. 20 men were aboard, and the sheep 15,000 on a Syrian vessel. They'd named the Queen Hind. They'd named the Queen Hind. Packed muzzle to rump, they were boarded that morning, bound for the slaughter on far distant shores. The Black Sea must have shimmered in the chilly new sunlight, salt air in the hold as the crew slammed the doors, as the crew slammed the doors. Was there one young sheep bundled alongside her sisters, who raised her head, sniffed, sensed adventure ahead, hungry to seek out new pastures for grazing, to break out of habits into which she'd been bred, into which she'd been bred. No one knows just what happened a few moments later, a mechanical failure, a mischievous tide. But the sea, it fell silent, and the gulls hovered watching as the hind wobbled slowly, then keeled to her side, then keeled to her side. And when the call came, it set off a desperate rescue. Small fishing boats swarming, casting nets in the sea. A daily catch made up of hooves, hinds, and shoulders, as the shepherds watched anguished, lined up on the quay, lined up on the quay. Amidships our sheep knew that this was her moment. A half-opened porthole made her woolly brain think. A well-placed kick set her well apart from her sheep mates as she plunged, barely flailing, straight into the drink, straight into the drink. Well, she was far from alone, like so many soft buoys. Her fellow sheep bobbed as they kicked without cease, their instincts alert as they swam for survival, but were doomed all to drown, weighed down by their fleece, weighed down by their fleece. By nightfall, the rescuers, drenched, spent, and weeping, counted 32 sheep as the ones they could save. The rest of the flock, sunk and soaked in salt water, herded below to a watery grave, to a watery grave. But I like to imagine one sheep missed the count, our brave ewe with muscles and spirit to spare. I see in my mind's eye her hooves scrape the shore, the sea answering the bleat of her brave ovine prayer, of her brave ovine prayer. I see her graze in fresh fields of alfalfa, finally free of the shepherds and the men of the sea, finally free just to ramble unshorn and untethered, and to ruminate on being the best sheep she can be, the best sheep she can be. Oh, let's not forget to remember the fallen, each sheep who strove vainly to master the water. Let's honor the moment they broke free of their sheepness and fought to keep living despite certain slaughter, each ewe and her daughter. So take heart, dearest friends, and take heed of this shipwreck. And when you feel like the rough seas of life keep you battling, just remember there are so many ways to be brave. And be the sheep that's the last to go down, bravely paddling. Be the sheep that's the last to go down. Thank you. That won the wreck of the Mutton Fitzgerald. All right, moving on. Where's my sideman? Oh, he doesn't have to be back yet. I have another song on this guitar that is tuned. And this is one of my oldest songs that I'm playing tonight, and it was actually on an album that I recorded 20-something years ago with my dear friend Amy Speece. And I caught him looking at his own reflection in department store windows by the faded light. And so I told him with the greatest of affection, look out, darling, or you just might get a lot of what you're looking at. Get used to gazing a one-man show. Really, it's amazing. Can you lean on loneliness or live on your pride when a man like you needs a woman like me beside? I got a friend who lost her lover in the kitchen at a marbled counter on a Monday night. He found her holding up slides and wrapping up linen, looking for the shadow behind the light. There's a lot of what you're looking at. Get used to gazing a one-man show. Really, it's amazing. Can you lean on loneliness or live on your pride when a man like you needs a woman like me beside? Got a mouth full of nails and a pocket full of pictures, and my bottle of poems tastes like pale moonlight. And then I caught me a looking at my own reflection, thinking about the way that you felt last night. There's a lot of what you're looking at. Get used to gazing. I'm a one-man show. Really, I'm amazing. If I said I'd make it easy, well, baby, I lied. 'Cause a man like you needs a woman like me beside. Guy. Thank you. All right, we are coming up on the end of this set, and you guys are being such a nice audience. What is next? Okay, this is a very recent song I wrote, and when I was a little kid, I had a tape recorder. And I loved my tape recorder, and the only person who loved my tape recorder as much as I did was my sister, who's a little bit younger than me. And like many children in the 70s and 80s, we used that tape recorder for a whole bunch of stuff. And when you find those tapes and listen to them, they're both awesome and embarrassing all at the same time. So, sorry. This is more for you than me. Almost there. Okay, ready?
Sure.
I'm gonna go back a page because that's not there. Two little girls moving every 2 years, taking refuge from the lonely and the new. We find a tape recorder with squeaky gears and figure out that make-believe's much better than making do. We can make the empty hours go by doing interviews on our radio show. We don't care that no one's listening. We can hear each other. We can hear each other. We don't care that no one's listening. We can hear each other. We can hear each other. We got a toothpaste ad and a parody tune and a quiz show made from stuff we learned at school. And the older one plays Claire de Lune while the tomboy brags about cannonballs in the pool. And just behind that old recorder's hum, you can hear the whispers of the women will become. We don't care that no one's listening. We can hear each other. We can hear each other. We don't care that no one's listening. We can hear each other. We can hear each other. The cassette runs down, the tape rolls clear. It's tricky to remember just what we were thinking of. And now your world's away, and I'm still right here, but we still know how to broadcast who we are to who we love. A lesson that we both learned long ago in that little world we made on our radio show. We don't care that no one's listening. We can hear each other. We can hear each other. La da da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Thank you.
Wonderful.
I have one last song, and we can go to the big after party. So thank you again for coming and listening to us for such a long time. Happy New Year to
Encore.
all of you. It just fills my heart with happiness to see all of these wonderful folks.
Erin.
Please consider donating to Loaves and Fishes before you leave tonight. And this is the last song. We will end with the ukulele. And this one I wrote last April when the pandemic had just started. And unfortunately, the sentiments still hold true today, but it's a hopeful song, and let's all be hopeful for 2021. Hey, Mr. Sullivan. It's fun performing with you. Ready? There's a little spring outside my door. Love to watch it run, so clean, so neat. Once we walked its banks, threw stones in the water, and you fed me the bitter along with the sweet. Oh, it's a different kind of spring when it comes to the summer. Dust-dry beds and the heat a-humming. Now I'm waiting on the bank for the rains of September, for the skies to open and spring come a-running. Found a little shoot in the corner of my garden, sharp green leaves ready to grow. But there ain't no prize for such an early riser, stopped in her tracks by an April snow. Oh, it's a brave kind of bloom, holds her ground in the winter. Icy cold, but her face is sunning. We're both waiting on a change, signs of a thaw, for the earth to open, and spring come a-running. Got a little chair beneath my window where I can watch the cars go up and down the hill. But the road's gone dark, traveled just by shadows, while I'm a-wishing and a-watching through nights so still. Oh, it's a steady kind of soul, holds her ground through the winter, and holds on tight, though she knows what's coming. We're all waiting on the dawn till we round the corner, and our hearts can open, and spring come a-running. We're just waiting on the dawn till we round the corner, and our hearts can open, spring come a-running. Spring come a-running. Spring come a-running. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Everyone. Thank you especially to Erin and Danno for coming here and giving us such a wonderful concert
It was
tonight.
so great.
And so thank you all. And so as I mentioned, there is another concert tomorrow, and please do donate to Loaves and Fishes. That will be very much appreciated. I'm going to put in the chat the information on the after party space. So I will put that in there. So I believe that Danno and Eric can join us there. And so feel free. So it's some people here have
Erin.
already used this program. Come in there. So I ask if you can help out the others, so because I know I want to relax and just have a good time and talk with a few people. So anyway, thank you very much to everyone who's come here, everyone who's participated, everyone.
Ken, thanks again for
Yeah, thank
setting
you
it
so
all
much.
up and hosting us.
Yes,
And of course, the fun for performers is to have an audience to perform for. So thanks, everybody.
And
for
you
all the kind
had
comments
you had mostly
and the time.
over 80 people for this, so it was quite the show.